Hello.
Hey.
Hi. What live stream of people? Welcome to Unreal Engine Fireside chat with no fire, just chat.
I kind of feel like with a name like Fortnite developer Fireside, we need a little more class than we got going on right now.
Oh, well then, in that case, may I formally welcome you to Unreal Development Fireside chat with your host, William Bartholomew Bramer IV Esquire, son of James.
That was
Seriously,
close.
no,
that
guys.
that was close. All right. So, yeah, I guess we'll do actual introductions. My name is Billy Bramer. I'm a lead gameplay programmer on Fortnite. I've mostly worked on, at the beginning, the building system in Fortnite, recently on kind of the skills and buff system that goes on in Fortnite's various classes, and kind of like looking at competitive game aspects of Fortnite, at least most recently.
You sound important.
Nah.
That
Not really.
sounds impressive. No, seriously, dude, we need fire. I'm just saying. I've got lighter fluid and matches at my
That's
desk.
what you're supposed to use your imagination for these things.
I'm an animator. I don't have any imagination.
Well, just try to pretend.
My name is Matthew Russell. I'm the lead animator on Fortnite, and I deal with animation. So not nearly as impressive as Billy. So, and there's Cameron.
Hi, I'm Cameron. I'm a systems designer, which means that I look at Excel and make boring decisions. Also, I like to connect blueprints to other blueprints and make Billy sad, which is really a great time because he gets sad so easily.
Yeah, I mean, I left that part out of my job description, but also cleaning up after Cameron's mess is a pretty big part of what I do.
Yeah, and making messes is a pretty part of my job. So it's like a really nice reciprocal relationship in which I get to make messes. So it's like I'm like a small child and he's like Mom. So pretty good.
Yeah.
Yay.
So mostly what we're going to be talking about today, because we are kind of hijacking the Unreal Engine live stream, we're going to talk about how Fortnite uses the engine. So if you have questions about that stuff, hopefully we'll be able to talk about that later. We're not going to talk too much about the game itself, but Game Informer actually just started a whole month of coverage of the game. So if you go check out their website, I think we have links in the forum also. You got videos of gameplay, walkthroughs, interviews. I think you're in one coming eventually at some point. Like, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. I'll tell you right now, though. Also, seriously, the hands-on video where they talk about gameplay is fantastic. If you get a chance, watch it. You get some great insight from people who aren't obligated to say nice things, and they said wonderful things about it, which is fantastic.
I believe the URL in today's parlance is gameinformer.com/Fortnite.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
You actually pulled that off the top of your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Exactly.
I can't
Pretty
even
good.
remember my home
You
address.
did forget the alpha sign-up, though.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. There's apparently an alpha. Well, I forgot. Why don't you talk about it, Mr. I know about the alpha sign up.
So you can sign up for our alpha test that we'll be picking for eventually at Fortnite.com. So there you go.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well done.
Sounds good.
Let's get on this stuff because otherwise.
Yeah, we're never going to get anywhere if we don't get started.
All right. Start.
Okay, so Fortnite, basically we started as a kind of smallish UE3 project, and then as more and more people got excited and on the project, and we saw where it was going, and then we saw what the engine team was cooking up with UE4, we went ahead and switched our project over, and so from then on we've been using it. So we'll probably talk today a lot about how we use the blueprints. That's been a common question. We saw a lot of people asking about that. The funny part to me, right, is in this transition when we first switched, I think the very first day that we had like UE4 up and running and we actually like let the artists start using blueprints, I hear from all the way across the room, Matt Hansey, who's one of our lead effects artists, I just hear him screaming down the hallway, "I'm applying a physics impulse to a fire truck, this is amazing!" And like, I think at that point we're all like, oh, what have we done? But, you know,
What you've done is you enabled my job to exist. So thank you.
You're quite welcome.
I'm professional at applying physics engines to things that shouldn't have them.
But I mean, since then we've had a lot of positive experiences with it, and so we'll kind of talk about that a little bit. I don't want to just sit here and monologue the whole time. So
No, you're doing a great job. Fantastic.
Excellent.
yeah, I mean, we can get into how we use blueprints on Fortnite.
So, I mean, one of the great things about blueprints is that it allows people who can't write like C++ code to affect game changes, which normally you would need a programmer to prototype. So, like, for example, in a lot of other projects I've worked on, if you want, to see like what would it be like if this thing that throws 3 throwing stars throwed 5 or 9 or 10. And it would require, well, I need to give you a function or an action or something like that. But there's a lot of flexibility for a designer to go in there and just be like, change variables around. You can create lots of templates where you can expose certain kinds of values for easy tweaking. You can allow, it allows your scripts to be a little bit more portable among the team. They're really fast an iteration. You can check stuff in pretty fast, get results really fast. It doesn't require you to rebuild the engine in order to see your changes. So it's really exciting to just be able to get in there and just play with things and try to figure out where the fun is in a pretty quick way. And also, it allows for structuring in a way that I'm a big believer in responsible visual scripting, where you're kind of imagining that you're, maintaining this for future generations of designers, and it allows me to pretend like, I can get that solidarity done, and we're not just always applying physics to fire engines.
So would you say that it enables your non-programming savvy employees to create content without being bottlenecked by the programming side?
I would in fact say that.
You keep that one. That one's yours.
Is that free?
I win.
Is that free? Oh, dude,
I win.
Come on, it's easy. It's easy.
I don't care. I don't care. It was on camera. I win.
Oh,
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, they've had a running gag on who could make me almost spit water first.
It worked. All you have to do is just say snarf when he's drinking.
No,
That's it.
I felt that that was contained. I don't think that counts.
That counts?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I don't think he won yet.
Fine.
So,
That.
judge's call. He loses.
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm walking away.
You're the judge?
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So, I think for Fortnite in particular, probably the two major ways that we've been using blueprints are close to what Cameron said, and also like enabling our artists or designers, whatever they want, like prototype out, like this would be an excellent gameplay feature. I want to see how it is, or just go ahead and implement it. So for instance, we have in Fortnite we have these tires that if you just happen to be near them, you bounce on them, they fling you in the air. And we have a fire hydrant that when it explodes open, it shoots water, and if you jump in it, that bounces you in the air too. Programmers didn't really do any of that. The designers decided that would be awesome, and so they just did that in their spare time. The majority of what we end up usually doing, because we have a decent sized team, we have engineers. Engineers need to do things too. We have.
But wait, we have a decent sized team, but we can always use more people. Wink, wink.
So if
go
you
to
could
our
write
website
code,
and apply.
careers.epicgames.com.
Through us, and give us the referral bonus. So hiring you. Yeah, you.
So what we tend to do is any of the super core system. So in Fortnite, for instance, right, building is a pretty big part of it. We have the core of that system written by engineers in C++ code. But then all the individual building pieces, all of our searchable containers, all of that stuff are actually then blueprints that inherit from our C++ code. So we make some C++ code that's I'm the base building Asher functionality. And then all the artists and designers can make all the blueprints off of that. And it's been really super empowering for them, and it let us bring this whole level of interactivity to our game that we wouldn't have had otherwise. So a very simple example, right, is we have I think there's a prop in one of the kitchens that is the thing that goes above your stove. And if we had to hard code every interaction with that all in code, it would be terrible. But because it's in a blueprint, somebody went in there and was like, oh, well, if you interact with this, it shoots a plume of black smoke down, and it makes a silly noise, and it wiggles and does all this kind of stuff. And we were able to do that all in blueprints, and that's a pretty often used case that we do that kind of stuff. Oh.
Yeah, I know with enemy prototyping, a lot of the variants that we have with the husks, all of that stuff is taken care of in blueprints. I mean, it's been incredibly powerful for letting us get a ton of content in without being reliant on the coders, because the coders are like golden unicorns and they have a very finite amount of time. Remember, engineers and programmers, please feel free to send resumes to Epic anytime, all over the place. We love you guys. But back to golden unicorns. And so their time's very valuable. So anytime that any of the artists or non-programmer centric folks can go in and still create content using the blueprint system, it's just a win-win for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yes, Kane, it was you. So apply, please.
Yeah. You were correct. I see it.
Yep.
So, do you want to talk about maybe how the blueprint system has influenced the design of the game?
Well, absolutely. So, like I was saying before, when I started on this project last year, we had a lot of prototypes for certain kinds of classwork and stuff like that, but we didn't really have a lot of the fleshed out concepts. So, one of the things that was great for blueprints is, I was like, well, how do we get these designs kind of off the ground, start getting them moving? You could just do things. So you figure out, okay, here's the pawns.
Yes, Furley, you're a golden unicorn. I'm sorry. I was just reading the chat. That's going on.
well, if you're a golden unicorn, you should be applying work at Epic Games, and
Yeah.
you can join our team of golden unicorns, and you can be gold unicorns together with us. Anyways, but so the idea is like you have these concepts of like, what is a class, or what is an idea, or what is an enemy, what is a weapon, and we get to work on it, and we say, okay, like what could this be like? And I work on a bunch of things, and then we don't have certain kind of effects that I want to make, but I have kind of like my favorite example is kind of like blueprints are like Legos, and designers are like children playing with Legos. So you're like, okay, I really need a 6-piece, but I don't have a 6-piece. I have a 4-piece and a 2-piece with a flat 6-piece on top, so I can make kind of a pseudo 6-piece, but that kind of gives me the 6-piece feeling. So then I try to hook that up, and then I show Billy, look, Billy, I made a 6-piece, and he says, Cameron, you're terrible. This is not a 6-piece. I'll make you a 6-piece, and then he does, and then I have a 6-piece, and that's kind of the blueprint iterative process. So it allows us to get our ideas kind of in the game and testing them and feeling how they're playing in a way that we know maybe won't work long term but works in the short term. And then the engineers get to take the blueprints that we've created, and when they're like, there was a question I saw floating around here, like is a blueprint more or less performant than C++? I think a thing to realize is that blueprints kind of are C++. They're little C++ snippets that I get to play with and move around. And when I connect them in bad ways that make Billy sad, he writes me a different one, and then I use that instead. So overall, it's actually a really fast and good process.
One, yes, you can be a gingercorn. I think we now have a new player class.
That's fine.
And two, we don't. Somebody's asking about Epic Games Britain. Like, I know that we have EGP, which is in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Typically, we have Epic Games Europe, which is Nick Campbell and
James?
yeah.
Yep.
Just saying.
All I know is if you can write C++ and you're not applying to Epic, why? Why haven't you done that? Like,
we have tons of positions open, actually, not just engineers, too, but...
Yeah, but engineers.
Oh, yeah.
We're supposed to be talking about Fortnite.
All right. So, go on.
So,
let's move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here's something. This is actually kind of completely off the topic of Fortnite, but very much for Unreal. There's a lot of people that aren't animators. I'm my own special, less valuable and important unicorn. More like a unicorn with 2 horns, or what we call them, cattle. But there's a lot of people that are making their games, and they don't necessarily have access to something like Maya or maybe even Blender, or they have Blender, but they just don't know how to animate. There's an awesome website called Mixamo, M-I-X-A-M-O, Mixamo.com. And the great thing about Mixamo is you can get everything there. Like, you can actually go onto their website. They have tools to help you create a character. You can rig and skin the character. You can get animations onto the character, export those animations as FBXs that you can actually bring into and use inside of Unreal 4. If you have your own mesh already, but you don't know how to rig and skin it and all of the other stuff, there's options. There's all kinds of options for that, so that you have all of the hands-on. Like, you can. It is ridiculous the amount of content that they have and that you have at your disposal, from motion sets for different game styles to, like, I saw a zombie headshot death kill like animation. They have all of those things. So if you ever run into that being a bottleneck, you have tons of resources at your disposal with Mixamo.com. Okay, sorry.
We can kind of keep up with chat, but it's going super fast. So we'll get to, like, question and answer later, hopefully. But one thing that's kind of been going by is, like, the difference between when you use the C++, when you use the blueprints and all that kind of stuff. Kind of seems like it's kind of up to your project. I mean, we're admittedly still learning this stuff too, right? It's brand new for us also. We found out what's worked for us is a good hybrid mix. And so, like, particularly because Fortnite has a lot of stuff going on in it, and we have engineers that if we find something that we're like, okay, well, we want to make sure that this is, like, super performant, we have, like, super tight knit control over it, then we'll go ahead and do it in C++. But I mean, it really depends on what the kind of game you're making, what your team is, what kind of skills they have. I mean, it's completely acceptable if you wanted to make your game in blueprints all exclusively, then that's a goal that we're aiming towards, that you should be able to do that as well. For Fortnite, we just have a very diverse team, multidisciplinary, and so we're trying to use everyone's skills where they best apply, I guess.
So one of the things, like, I'm seeing a bunch of, like, debugging with blueprints. Blueprints actually have their own debugging module. You can put breakpoints in there, and it's actually really super cool. Like you can see like the flow of the blueprint and like where it's stopped, and you can debug certain interactions there. And obviously, of course, if you've built your debugger, you can just step through in C++ land just like you normally would. But it's cool that I can debug my own stuff without having to run to a guy running Visual Studio who's connected. So that's a really nice feature of Blueprint debugging for sure. I think the advantages that people are going to see is that there's a lot of technical people that understand programming concepts that don't necessarily understand how to write specific code, and you're going to be able to apply the things generically. Like if you understand concepts of Boolean, if you understand logic tests and gates, and if you understand the ability to like assign variables and such, like you're going to be able to.
We are drinking water, but it would be hard to tell.
It's vodka. No, it's absolutely vodka. Don't let. Come on. How do you think we need our vodka to get through the day? Am I right, guys? Am I right? Am I right? Vodka?
That's just you.
Oh, is mine just vodka?
Yeah.
Well, that explains why I'm having a better time than you. So anyways, the idea is if you are using blueprints, you can create all this stuff yourself. You can work on it yourself. And again, like if you have a responsible relationship with, are you saying stuff again?
No, somebody asked the website that I mentioned, so I didn't want to interrupt.
Isn't there a
yeah? There's an O there.
There's an O at the end of that.
Oh, Mo.
So the idea is
Thanks,
that,
spell check.
Yeah, there's no spell check on your notepad.
.com.
The idea is that like you can make all this stuff yourself. Like we have the concept of like this is an actor in the world, and the actor has properties, and you can like pull off the properties, cast your variables, like figure out properties of that. You can even do really cool stuff, which I just learned the other day because I'm always learning about this stuff. You can actually have certain kind of functions that create instances of a class, cast that class to a type of thing you've made, and then pull off custom actions that you wrote in that class, and then execute them on the instance of the object you made. And that is just super cool and exciting, even though it's a really like nerdy thing to be excited about. I'm really excited about that. Like Daniel showed me how to do it the other day, so it was really exciting.
So one thing I saw go by also is that you mentioned EGP, and then somebody looked up the acronym and did not realize that this stands for Epic Games Poland, which is our Polish studio.
Yep.
Which is actually a nice segue into something else I want to talk about with UE4 too. Is they've noticed your drawing skills. We've actually a big feature that we've used in UE4 in particular too versus UE3 is this whole like AI behavior tree editor and debugger and all that stuff. And all of that was actually basically designed, started, implemented by Epic Games Poland. Like they've done an excellent job on that. Every AI in Fortnite that we have is run by a behavior tree. And so we're kind of in the middle of getting the documentation up and ready for the community in general to be able to use it. It's right now. I think it's in the like experimental section of the editor that you have to like intentionally enable it if you want. So coming pretty soon. We're gonna have some more documentation on how to use it. But I mean that has just been a fantastic help. It's like this full visual editor for behavior trees. We set up how all our behavior for our AI is gonna work. It has this awesome, really like temporal debugger. So in the middle of playing, you can just like pause and be like, well, it didn't actually work exactly how I wanted, and you can like step backwards and see how the behaviors shook out and stuff. So I wanted to make sure we called that out too, because that's been a huge, awesome benefit of like when we switched to UE4 and had that implemented. Like that's really helped us do some crazy stuff with our AI, because Fortnite is like this gigantic open game where you're building all these walls and you're tearing things down dynamically, completely changing the whole landscape, and the AI is being asked to do a lot of stuff. So special call out to the guys in Poland, specifically Mieszko, Sebastian, Łukasz. Like the three of them together have just been knocking it out of the park on that stuff.
Did you just give a shout out?
I sure did.
You just
so something I've been seeing there, like talking about variable casting on the stream and what you can do in Blueprints, what you can't do. I'm going to give you an example of the type of interaction of how this would work. So something I'm trying to do right now involves costs of ability execution, which is a concept that is unique to Fortnite. So like what I might do is I might have an event trigger called like on ability execute, at which point it returns a couple of nodes. Like maybe it's like the guy who's instigating the ability, and he's an actor class, and it might be like any targets I'm passing in or anything like that. So what I might do is, okay, I'm going to cast the instigator to a fort pawn, which is like an object that we have in Fortnite. And then we say, okay, fort pawn has certain kinds of properties. Like maybe I can start asking my fort pawn questions like, what's in your inventory? And I say, do you have this ammo in your inventory? And then we say, okay, do you have it? If so, I want to take 2 away from you. And that's kind of like that's an example of something I can prototype a cost in blueprints, when in reality what we'd actually want to do is have a hard-coded function that just is like the concept of cost, where we say, okay, here's an integer cost of object type foozle, and we decrement foozle by 2 when you execute. So then we say, all right, that's kind of the situation we're in. But if you have, if I can do that myself and say, is it fun to decrement 2 foozles? And then if it is, then we say, all right.
How could it not be?
And then we say, yeah, okay, Billy, we need to have the concept of a cost. And then what happens is, once Billy implements that in the actual execution, I can cut all of that old blueprint code and replace it with, use cost type foozle. So
they called out that they saw my cup was empty, and now
that's because all the vodka's gone.
Yeah.
That is yeah. I mean, aren't you sad when you're out of vodka? Come on. I mean, who's like, oh, we're out of vodka. What a happy day. I need more vodka. So anyways, that's kind of like, blueprints are super exciting. Like, they have the opportunity to really revolutionize the industry and the number of people who can actually get in and make gameplay, which is something that up until recent times has been the province of only people who could operate code in Visual Studio. So I'm really excited to to be able to work on a project where I can actually, for the first time, affect specific things that normally I would need a gameplay programmer to do. And I'm hoping that you will have the same awesome experience that I have had.
Feels like you're trying to make me obsolete. That's cool,
Well, yeah. I mean, isn't the goal of the goal of any kind of systemic organized person to make your job obsolete? Isn't that what you do? You automate yourself out of relevance. Soon, Unreal Engine 7 will be the game is made for you by the engine. You don't even need to do anything. It's you just think about a game and it's done.
All right, let Tim know that's what we're looking for.
That's Unreal Engine 7.
Yeah, that's what we want. All right, so I mean, do we want to hop into discipline-specific UE4 stuff? I mean, you kind of already went into some Mixamo stuff. Is there any other animation-y goodness you want to talk about?
Oh yeah, a little bit. One of the things that we're running into, there's an awesome blog post. If you check the website, there's an awesome blog post about animation retargeting specifically, and it's fantastic. One of the things that we run into are little things with your skeletons. A big one is the hands, right? You're going to have, in Fortnite, we have different classes, different sizes, different silhouettes. But one of the things that we're really pushing on is building up a base of animation for retargeting, so that, like any living project, with updates, what we're creating is what the community and the people playing the game see as valuable. So if you get a new weapon, we want to make sure that there's a badass, a kill animation with it, or a reload, or a taunt, or an emote, or anything like that. We want to make sure that we're focusing our time on the stuff in the long term that you guys think is really, really valuable and fun, and enhances your experience. So one of the things that we're running into, that we ran into, and I'm sure other people will run into, is with the hands. You want your hands to carry all of your retargeted animation correctly. You don't want the one guy that is who your authored content is done on to be holding the weapon one way, and then it gets into somebody else's hands and your fingers are jacked up. So one of the things, just a little small note, is on your bones for your hands, you can scale, and by scale I mean you can adjust your translation, but don't adjust your rotations at all if you can get away with it. One of the things that we ran into is one of the hands was modeled with this really wonderful natural curve in the position, for the metacarpal and everything, and then it was actually rigged like that. And so when the animation came across it, when it was retargeted onto there, since the delta had this new rotation in it, every time the hand would close to grip something, all of a sudden you got this jacked up arthritic looking hand, and it just made everything look really messed up. So it's just a little note for you guys that are actually exploring that stuff to think about when you're setting up your multiple skeletons. I'm done.
Cool.
How about Design Town?
Design Town, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? Ask your questions at AskCameronStuff.com. If you go there, you'll be sad.
Yeah, it's
probably not a website.
Yeah, don't go there.
So one of the most exciting things from a design standpoint is the ability to integrate Excel into workflow. Anyone who's ever tried to make a game of a large scale, managing a lot of data, especially if you're doing any kind of RPG, where you're talking about something like itemization, where you're managing data on that kind of scale, it just kind of makes sense to use Excel as a tool. And Unreal Engine 4 is one of the first engines I've ever used, which allows designers to basically work with programmers to create custom data structures that are maintained in Excel. So what this means is, you can have, if you use source control, out there, and you're like, okay, I'm going to have a Perforce setup where these are all my Excel documents. You can take those Excel documents and just import them directly into the engine. You can use curve tables, which are really exciting. For those who don't know, it's like, so you can set like two values that scale between, and you can say like, this is a curve between like, 1 and 100, let's say, and then you can execute, values based on that curve. So you can say like, this is my, I don't know, like, big squishy monster health, and big squishy monster health goes from a low of 100 to a max of 10,000, and you can like spawn big squishy monsters anywhere between those values. So let's say like you have a coefficient of how difficult your game is, you can be like, call big squishy monster health at like 73, and then it'll interpolate how much health the monster should have, which means that you can do things like dynamic balancing, item distribution, attributes for abilities and skills, all in Excel and managed in Excel, which means you get to do all the fun things that Excel does, like dynamic colors and tables and VB integration and all that kind of stuff. And when you're all done, you can export that into a data structure that Unreal can recognize. And programmers out there, you can make these data structures and make your designers super happy and integrate a tool that designers are or should be very familiar with and integrate it into your game's flow. And this just is super great from a design standpoint, because for the longest time we had to replicate Excel, or a lot of time in the project process would be like, well, I need a two-dimensional array of asset allocation, and they're like, well, that's Excel, but we don't have Excel, so here's this bad version of it that we just made. And it's like, no, now we actually have full-on Excel integration. It's super exciting. And
I know I've actually heard rumblings about that like I think Ben wants to make a blog post about that kind of stuff, so we can show people kind of how we're doing that in particular. We don't want to get into the super nitty-gritty here, but...
So can I actually saw somebody, I can't remember who it was because it's already flown past, talking about the animator from the GDC demo, talking about the big guy and retargeting. That was me. You probably don't recognize me because I was hungover then, and I'm actually not now. So, yeah, that affects. So with our rigs, our skeletons, we actually do IK bones for the hands and the feet.
Is that the question?
Yeah. So which one is that?
The IK to FK there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, very cool. So our skeletons, we actually export. We actually export them with IK and FK. The IK bones, what they do for us is great for retargeting, because it will, like for hand placement on your weapons, ranged weapons, melee weapons, interactions, when you're cutting across multiple body types, like from bigger silhouettes to smaller silhouettes. Other stuff can be adjusted because of proportions, but you want the hand contacts, where the hand contacts are from your authored content. That way, because you're not scaling your weapons, right? You're not scaling a sledgehammer. You're not scaling a rifle. Those props are the same all the way through, and the range of motion that you have for interactions with those is going to be the same. So that's what we're talking about with the IK, and that's something that we do, and that's actually would probably be something that would be great for us to do a blog post or a video tutorial on. So thanks for that. But what they're talking about is, for the people that might not have saw it, is I animate on the skinny guy, and we'll say like a pistol clip reload. He drops the clip, he reaches into his magic pocket on his hip to pull out the new clip and throw it on. Now he's a skinny guy, he's got a skinny silhouette. We have the constructor, which is a big beefy guy. So if you let the IK animation control it the entire time, the IK animation is literal. It's one for one, right? So when he lets go and reaches in, he's going to reach into that same spot in relation to this other hand, and he ends up reaching into his waist. So what we have is a way to, the moment that he lets go, you blend out of your IK into your FK. Now the FK is actually being driven by the delta, the animation in relationship to the delta of the new skeleton. And so when he reaches over, he's grabbing on his hip. And then as you go to bring it back, then you blend the IK back in, and you get this great, what looks like custom animation built specifically for that body type. I'm actually going to write down about the tutorial.
So one thing, so there's two questions I'm going to touch on. The one that Dana just showed me, and as well as, so the first is, the question is, can you use OpenOffice? What actually is happening with the Excel integration is we write our own VB macros to convert the data format into CSVs that the game processes. So if your spreadsheeting tool can make a CSV, you can integrate it into Unreal. It's just that we like Excel because it's got a lot of robust features, like some of the formula integrations styles are a little bit superior, and so we like to use that. But if you have a particular CSV generator, you can import CSVs into the engine. Right now, the process is like it's a two-step process. You import the CSV, and then a data table reads from a CSV and kind of updates itself. Obviously, it'd be cool to improve that workflow, but right now it's really robust, and you can get all that information in there. And the second thing is there's a question about so do we use blueprints for prototyping in C++ for final implementation? The answer to that is no. Blueprints, again, you have to kind of going back to the Lego analogy. If you have Legos of the correct size to make your replica of Helm's Deep, then you just use those Legos. Sometimes you can fake a Lego when if you don't have the exact piece you need, you can fake it with two other Legos.
A Flego.
Flego. But if you actually find yourself constantly redoing these same Lego pieces, at some point you should go to the Lego manufacturer and say, hey, could you make me this piece because I'm using it everywhere. So that's kind of how blueprints are like. So it allows us two things. If you kind of imagine, instead of blueprints is this sort of segregate thing from C++ code, imagine each blueprint node as an exposed set of functionality that a programmer has sort of looked at and said, okay, this is designed to accept inputs and give out certain outputs, and it's safe to use in the following situations, and I've guarded it against some of the more bad interactions so that you don't need to be a C++ programmer to use this, and now I'm handing that off to you, designer. And then you create a library of these, and then occasionally you connect them in ways that are kind of bad. You probably shouldn't do that, but it creates the effect you want. And then it's the engineer's job, worth the designer, to surface, hey, I'm using this in this way. The engineer should say, hey, you're using this in a way that probably isn't good. Let's make this a real function. But there's absolutely going to be lots of blueprint code that goes into the game when it's all done, because that's what it's for, right? It's meant to generate these games. And don't think of it as sub-performant. It's not like some other language or interpreted. It's just C++ code.
I mean, I think a lot of places we use it in particular, too, is also stuff that's like one-off gameplay things in particular too, right? We do a lot of that stuff where if you were doing it in C++, then you're going to have all these special case things written all over the place. But we can just do it in the blueprint, keep it effectively in content, right, where it is, and do it that way. And so, I mean, when we mentioned prototyping in particular, we did that a lot because it's very fast and easy for the designers to be like, okay, I'm just going to prototype this out without having to even wait to get the engineers involved in I need these basic pieces before I can even start, right? They can just hop into the blueprints and figure out if it's fun, because if they get in the process and decide actually this isn't even fun, right, then we've not used the engineer's time. And our engineers are always super busy all the time, so anything that can save that is good.
So here's a good example. We have a node in Fortnite. I don't know if this is in main, but it's called spawn projectile. What it does is it literally just says, take a thing that exists as a static mesh, put it in the world, give it a velocity and a direction, and go. And so it takes a lot of parameters, and then you can define your own projectile types, which I can then spawn. But the concept of taking a static mesh as a projectile and putting it into the game is something that you're going to want to do a lot. It makes sense that's a node. Having a spawn projectile that spawns a projectile that acts as a projectile is a really good example. Sometimes, because designers are bad people, we spawn projectiles that aren't projectiles because it's a way to get something into the game. So when I do that and Billy sees it and says, Cameron, what have you done? You've made me sad again. And I say, well, Billy, I am lacking the following functionality. At which point, Mom comes in, picks up the Legos, goes to the store, buys me the correct Legos I need, and then comes back. And that's how it works. So what do you mean what?
I just wanted to go on what he said. I just did want to second that Cameron is a bad person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Make no mistake.
Yeah, let's
make no mistake.
Let's not equivocate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spawn projectiles that aren't projectiles. That's right.
So I saw the one other thing go by real quick while we're still on this topic. Somebody
just real quick. Hi, Greg Soggs. Good to see you too.
Very nice.
Okay.
Somebody asked actually how you go about if you are a coder, right? Like how you would expose things to blueprints. We can actually do a little follow-up, simple post on that. It's actually really easy. If you have a function that you want people to be able to use in the blueprint, for a particular actor, you can, there's in the, when you do the U function little macro at the top in C++, you can just, there's different options there. You can be like, it's blueprint callable, and then that's all you need to do, really. It just exposes that function to be used in a blueprint.
Wow, you have used the word expose a lot.
I always ask Billy to expose pieces of code to me.
So we have the question: how do you decide when to use the blueprints versus C++?
That's a good one.
My answer is if I'm doing it, it's a blueprint. And if he's doing it, it's C++. Because like if you could write C++, you should just do that because it's awesome. Like it's like wizardry. Like if you were a wizard and like you had a magic wand that could cast spells, why would you drive a car when you could fly? And the answer is you wouldn't. But I can't fly, so I have to drive a car.
How much vodka was in that class?
It was all vodka.
Oh, okay.
It was permanently vodka. That's all we drink here.
Which is why I'm scared to ride with him when he drives.
Yeah. One of the
Riding
reasons.
dirty, if you will. And I will.
So, but I mean, for that again, I think that ends up being a project-specific kind of question that you have to answer, and we're still figuring that out too. Like I said, for Fortnite in particular, our methodology has been if it's something that's like a super core system that is going to be a driving part of the game, like say the building system, right? Then we've started it in C++ and then intentionally exposed all the hooks and the actors to it to blueprints so that all of our development team is capable of working in that space, right? And being able to work on that feature. So if we need to add code stuff, we can. If we need to add new stuff in blueprints, we can, right? So we've kind of adopted a hybrid solution where we expose most of our gameplay functionality to blueprints and then we can make the change in either place that we want.
Cool. All right, let's go on to our next bullet point because we're already past the.
Man, we're just cruising.
Cruising. I told you.
I tell you.
Zoom.
I mean, we had we want to talk about blueprints. We did that. You guys talked about design. I guess for programmer stuff, if we want to touch on a little bit of that, I mean, the big
touch away.
Oh wait.
What?
Is that one worth talking about at all?
That I'm afraid to answer that.
I am too.
Like that's scary. See, luckily no one knows what we're pointing to.
I'm going to ruin it. So this is a Fortnite specific question. It's asking, is it coming to Linux? Basically, right now our focus is we're releasing as a PC title, but like we haven't closed the door on the future on where Fortnite goes because we get a lot of is it coming to consoles and all that stuff too. Like right now we're focusing on PC, but we haven't said no means no to anything else, right? We'll figure it out.
So the performance question again, like the key thing to remember about blueprints. The question is that Dana is flashing me. Any significant performance differences between using blueprints versus C++ for gameplay implementations? Blueprints are C++. It's not like a separate thing. So it's exposed C++ code that you get to move around in boxes because you can't write it. That's the main thing.
I mean, there is still a layer in between though, right? Like it does have to do the hop through. It is effectively generating code, but it is not completely as fast as C++.
Are you guys going to fight?
Yeah, we're going to fight now.
Yeah, you should.
But it's close enough for most purposes that unless you're being horrible, you should be okay. It's a lot of the core functionality that I would expect to be in C++, I found is in blueprints. Like when I first when Laurent first showed me the pawn, and he's like, "That's a blueprint." I was like, "What?" Yeah, the whole thing, blueprint. So
Yeah. Something you can answer this. I've seen it pop up several times. A lot of people are asking about learning C++, and book recommendations or websites or anything like that.
That's a good one.
So what I do is I ask people in the room. So actually, I learned C++ a couple weeks ago. A true story. I asked all my...
Wait, you learned all of C++ last week?
It was so this is what happened. I wrote a program about converting Celsius to Fahrenheit, and then I built the editor. And then my time was up, and I couldn't do it anymore. But it was actually, all kidding aside, there's a bunch of... That book that someone mentioned was what all the...
The Struster book?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's the one who wrote the language effectively, right? That's kind of the definitive source book. I have that book. It's a little dry to read. I'm not sure I would recommend that as the I don't know C++ at all and hop right in because it can be a little dry. I don't know if I have a book suggestion for starting. I haven't looked in a while. There are tons of awesome online resources now too, right? I know there's Code Academy, but I'm not sure there's C++.
Somebody just put learncpp.com.
Yeah, I mean,
there's all kinds.
You can search and find them. I'm sorry I don't have a great answer for that right this second. I'll see if I can find some stuff afterwards and post it maybe to the forums. Yeah,
and also I saw someone who talked about working for EGP. If you are in the Poland area and you are interested in working for EGP, there's look at our website.
Yeah, we have a careers page.
Yeah, if you want to live in Poland. I mean, Poland's pretty hip. You can go live there.
Warsaw's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we should make sure that we talk about some engine stuff too, real quick.
Let's get that one later.
Wait, there's a good question.
Is that good?
Oh, that's a nice plug for the
Oh, that-
tutorial too. Okay, so somebody's
Yeah.
asking, what about the networking experience of blueprints versus C++?
I do that wrong all the time.
Now-
Billy, tell me.
As it so happens, there is a thrilling 6-part blueprint tutorial series that we just released this week.
How many parts?
6.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like a mini series.
Yeah, it pretty much is.
Same.
It's like a whole journey on learning networking.
Is it hosted by Neil deGrasse Tyson?
It's hosted by me, but that's
That's better.
That's,
oh, that's better.
By
don't
Billy
go
deGrasse
knocking
Tyson.
the Tyson.
No, he's awesome, but I mean,
Just
come on.
saying.
It's Billy.
Billy didn't have a mustache.
I mean, he could fix that.
Yeah.
That's a fixable problem.
But so we do have tutorials out there. The experience is they're pretty similar on C++ versus blueprints, except for in blueprints you're trying to make certain things maybe almost even easier to use because in general content creators maybe don't want to be caught up in the nitty gritty of how networking works. But you can totally go in a blueprint and make a replicated actor that everyone can see. You can make variables that update on the client and server. You can send like remote function calls across back and forth. I'm totally interested in feedback on that tutorial series, by the way. So if you check out the 6 parts and then you're still confused or there's a question I didn't answer and you want to know about, like either harass me on Twitter, post it on the forums. We'll see it eventually. We'll get it figured out.
Cool.
Engine stuff.
Okay, yeah. We should talk about engine stuff because we did kind of hijack their stream, so we
Do it. Do it.
stole the keys to
Move
the
it
car.
on.
So the big news is the 4.1 update should be coming out next week, which has all kinds of goodies and crazy stuff in there, like SteamOS and Linux support.
What?
What?
There it is.
That's insane.
I kid you not.
Microphone drop.
Yep.
You
Wait,
can't
there's
drop
more.
the microphone.
Isn't
They're
there more?
attached. They're attached. Yeah. What else do we give them?
Oh, there's more. But wait, there's more.
I'm waiting.
Improved iOS and Android workflow.
What?
What?
Only getting better all the time.
Dag.
Amazing.
New project templates. Oh man, I'm gonna get into trouble with those. So
Why?
I mean, if you watched the tutorial, like I kind of misappropriated some art assets in the third-person template, and now that there are new templates, that is only going to be a new
Yeah,
playground.
yeah. Elemental. We're doing that, right?
Yes, that's the last one. Spoilers.
What?
I don't know. I saw that word. I like elements.
Flip the table.
I'm a designer. Elementals are fun.
Yes,
Like,
and
are we doing light
There
and
was
darkness
something that I
as well?
forgot. There
no,
was,
the elemental demo.
no, but there's something after the elemental demo that I can't. Oh, it's the memory game.
That was awful.
Oh, are you serious?
That was cool.
Thanks, Dad.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Cameron, what do you get when you cross an elephant and a rhinoceros?
I don't know.
I know. Oh, shut up. I have to take this. I got people at home who give me this abuse. Take it from you guys.
But yeah, the elemental demo that was put together a while back and shown, I think, right when the consoles started to launch. That is going to be in your hands. You can play around with it, see how it was made. Oh, and yeah, and it was also using the Oculus demo too.
What else we got?
We got. Also, we wanted to call it too. We saw a whole bunch of like plugins and stuff have come out this week, right? Like the Substance stuff is available now.
That's awesome.
There's a Mercurial for source control plugin. Coherent UI released their new UI plugin stuff. Like all kinds of great stuff. I actually wanted to specifically call out too. I like to sometimes hop on the forums and answer questions when I can, and so I don't always get time to answer like say or comment on the work in progress section, but. We are like totally blown away by all the awesome stuff that everybody like keeps posting, like on Twitter, on the work in progress section. So like we see it even if we don't always have time to comment.
Yeah.
I was actually just watching the video before this about the guys doing a narrative experimental like video like with this really cool environment, and the sound makes like an awesome part of the experience. Like all that stuff is awesome. We are so excited about it, and it kind of creates like this like feedback loop of like we see that, and then we're like, man. Now we want to make even more tutorials so we get more cool stuff to look at and to play with, right? And so like we kind of get like, oh man, we need a tutorial immediately. That's kind of where the networking tutorial came from too. Is like
It's like feed the beast.
yeah, I'm gonna
feed
be
the
selfish.
beast.
I want new network games to play, so let's show people how to do it.
I want more games like this. Let's show people how to do it. And then all of a sudden you have 73 games just like that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You're feeding his addiction.
Basically,
Just saying.
you're all enablers.
Someone asked earlier, like, what's the worst thing about the Unreal Engine? And the only thing that's bad is that you're not all using it. If everyone was using it, it would be perfect. And then we'd have the best games ever. So if you want to fix the only problem with the Unreal Engine, just get all of your friends to use it. And then that way, it'll be problem solved. And then everyone will make anything that's missing, like we'll make it, or you'll make it.
Yeah.
Or you'll make it and then come work for us and then make it here. Or you'll go to Poland and make it. Or you'll go to like Epic Games Zimbabwe because everyone's using it and we need Zimbabwe people. Like, you don't know. The future is like an open book.
I mean, that's actually another good point too. Like, I don't want to speak for the engine team, but I think
But he's going to.
I'm gonna. No.
Do it.
Even as like on the game teams, right? I think we've already been super blown away by like how many community submissions there have been, like new additions to the engine or like fixing things that they've noticed, and like we're gonna continue to do that.
Yeah.
Like, that is fantastic.
Awesome.
So since we only have 15 minutes left and we'd actually promised a Q&A, should we do that? Or should we talk about more stuff? Do we have more
There
stuff?
is one more feature.
Do it.
Okay.
We'll do it.
What? Oh, wait,
So-
that was too soon. Sorry.
You have to wait for the feature to say what.
Yeah.
Dude, reduce the velocity of your roll.
Take a seat. Take a seat.
Your roll is
I'm
proceeding.
gonna table flip. I swear to God.
There's no table to flip. You're just going to spill vodka everywhere.
This is kind of more of a stand than a table. So, talking to the engine team, they are
gonna
trying to
flip
get the GitHub live source code access thing ready to roll. Maybe by next week, I think we heard.
Maybe.
And so that will be the equivalent of like Epic Engineer submits something to our Perforce depot, and then it's available to you like maybe an hour later, almost in real time, if you want the hottest stuff right off the presses.
Shut the front door.
Whoa.
That is ridiculous.
That's coming
Shut
soon
the
too.
front door.
You can definitely tell which of the three of us is a father.
Wait, no, you can tell which of the three of us knows he's a father. Just saying.
Daddy power. Let's quickly move to Q&A before we further embarrass ourselves.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Save the laptop. Hashtag save the laptop. I'm table flipping everything. Billy's going.
Is that a
camera's
hashtag?
going.
Hashtag save the laptop.
Hashtag.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a question about UI development. So Fortnite is actually using Slate in particular. We're still in alpha. You're being distracted by chat.
Hashtag dad jokes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go
That's
ahead.
basically hashtag Matthew. I'm just saying.
Because now it's a thing. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you talk what you're getting paid to talk about? God.
You're getting paid for this?
You
I'm
are?
not.
Damn.
Talk to me about UI development.
Yeah.
So we've been using Slate. We've already got a full inventory screen. We got the drag drop. We've got our HUD, all that kind of stuff in there. We're still in development. We don't have we're not screens are fine, all locked down. But I mean, it's been working for what we need. It's pretty easy to jump in the code and prototype out a new screen if you want. That said, we've heard a lot of people ask for, I really want a visual editor, and so I want to confirm again, the design plans for that are in the works. What you see is what you get kind of editor called Unreal Motion Graphics, I believe it is. So it's not ready right this second, right? We're still in the early design phases, but that is we've heard the community on that one, so we want to make sure that we get that addressed. Is there anything else on that? Is that the basic gist of that question, I think? Yep.
Yeah.
You already mentioned coherent UI.
Oh yeah, and of course yes, and the plugin by Coherent also came out as another UI option in the short term as well too, which we think that's awesome too. We're so excited that people are making plugins that provide functionality like that. It's really great.
Cool. Let's move to community questions because we only have 12 minutes left.
Oh, somebody was actually, I saw one on here, because I don't know, because I'm not a programmer. Somebody asked if there was any way to get a hold of and edit the C++ that was generated from blueprints.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
You want to borrow my pen?
No, what we'll do is we will get we'll go pester Michael Nolan and the Blueprint team and Nick Whiting. And
I honestly
get them
thought
to
you
give
said
a follow.
Sir Michael Nolan for a second. I really did.
Yeah, he might as well be a knight. I mean, that's how I treat him. But yeah, we'll make sure we get a good follow-up answer to that one.
Cool.
In the forums in that thread.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll post in the forums.
Sweet.
I won't draw a unicorn, but I did draw a gingercorn very badly. Gingercorn, there you go. See?
I'll draw a unicorn.
That's why you don't have any paper.
I know.
And that's why we don't have nice things.
So paper is nice things?
Yes.
And that's how we got.
And
Yeah.
that's where we died.
Sweet. All right, so how do we do community questions? Do you get them?
Well, there's some over there.
This is the community, and they have questions.
Yeah,
Well,
but
there's-
but we got.
Oh, okay.
We have questions over there too.
Yeah, I mean, so okay.
So Matt, do you know this? What is new with NavMesh workflow in UB4?
Dynamically updated.
Oh, dynamically updates.
Yeah, I mean, so that's actually something we use pretty extensively in Fortnite also, because we have like a world that's constantly being torn down and rebuilt, and so we are constantly dynamically updating the nav mesh in the middle of our game so that the enemies actually know where they can go and can't go. I think that's something that will probably have a lot more coverage and documentation coming soon. We actively have people working on that, behavior tree stuff, associated like environment queries on how you like find places to send people, all that kind of stuff. We're gonna have documentation coming pretty soon.
Cool.
Nah, that one's kind of in the weeds.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh man. Oh.
Oh, you got the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we saw some questions about the Fortnite rendering and lighting and how we do various effects. And so I kind of cheated and I went and talked to one of our lead artists, Pete Ellis, and asked him some like, what should we talk about? Short answer is like some of it in particular, like how we did the like what they call the cartoon is what the question asked. But like how we do the stylized version of the characters is kind of more in depth, and he wanted to make sure that we like cover that actually in maybe a whole different video that's entirely about that, or a blog post or something. Like they're gonna figure that out, but he didn't want us to go too much into that right now. The lighting question in particular, I went and asked him right to the source. We do actually use fully dynamic lighting. In particular, we're using it for like, we have the day-night cycle that's updating as it goes through the sky. And so, because it is dynamic, it lets like all the wall blueprints always like look like they have accurate lighting as the day-night cycle is going on. It makes it, if you like tear down a wall or put a new one up, that the lighting still looks correct. So we use kind of like that one primary light for the day-night cycle. And then he also mentions we have an ambient cube map used in post-process, and we have a spotlight that comes out of each of the players. Other than that, like most of the lights we use are like muzzle flash, like particle system lights that don't cast shadows, so they're cheaper, just flash like that. That's what we have for now. We'll make sure that we get in time as Fortnite is developed and stuff. We're gonna have probably developers from all different disciplines posting about here's how we did this, here's an example of this, here's a tutorial, right? Because we're all excited to do that kind of stuff.
Just like in open world.
Oh man,
Do you anyone here a modeler?
No. That's
All right, let's skip that one.
good question.
that was another art question. We'll get the artist in that one.
Yep. All right.
All right.
So we're out of baked questions, which means it's time for your question.
Wait, no. This
Wait.
is I can answer this
Oh,
one.
wait, no, we got one.
Is Zach Parrish a good coworker? Zach is a beautiful, beautiful human being, both inside and out.
Yeah.
And he is someone for all of us to look up to and strive to be.
He taught me how to film that tutorial on networking, and then he was my shoulder to cry on, in which I filmed 35 minutes of that tutorial without actually pressing record after he taught me how to use the software. And so I then completed a tutorial for no one, and then pressed the button, and it was like, hey, he started recording.
I watched him save puppies from a burning orphanage.
I believe
and
that.
then do a tutorial on how to do it.
So if you have further questions that we can answer, you should ask them now, and then we'll try to read them off the screen. And you can ask us anything that we can answer, which means if it's on the engine, if it's on us, if you want to know where Matt learned how to draw unicorns, you can ask that, whatever. We were not actually, remember, we established earlier that
Whoa.
I'm the only one not being paid to say that, so. Whoa, hold on a sec.
Whoa.
I'm done. You know who you are.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
This is a PG stream, friends.
It's actually a PG-13, but
Yeah,
that's
come
okay.
on, that's fine. Let's see here. So all the scale form questions, like I really don't think anyone sitting up here is really able to answer. Like I know that my interaction with UI development is I talk to a UI developer. So
Hold on. So can we do a couple? Somebody's asking about
Marketplace.
a marketplace.
Yeah.
Yes, that's in the works. We do want a marketplace where people can put stuff up available for others.
Yeah.
Already there.
And then
Yep.
regarding the 5% royalty, the subscription model is one of many options that we have for Unreal 4, and it depends on your needs, the size of your team, what you're willing to negotiate. Like we have like ridiculously talented business people who can work within all kinds of interesting spaces. So it really, that question's best left to them when you get to a point when you really need to have that talk. So
Custom licensing page on the website.
Yes.
there's a custom licensing page on the website. Oh wait, I don't have to put my hand
Dana
up.
with the clutch
so
save.
Matt, will
Yeah.
you adopt Grexox?
Yeah, right there. He's asking.
He wants to be adopted.
This is a legally binding answer.
That is not a binary. That would have failed. See, if that was a blueprint and that was a binary variable, it would have been rejected because crap is not a true or false value. See, that's the value that blueprints adds.
See.
What?
Any, like, just throw out at any.
We have a question about how many street passes I was able to acquire packs. Over 100. That was pretty great. Matthew and I were actually a pack, so thanks to anyone that we met there. And
out of the 15,
I felt that was the most important
that's
of all.
the one you pulled out.
Yeah, no.
So GameNab in the future.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, I've seen the vocal command one come over and over again as well. Like I mean, obviously, like in the dark future of the 41st millennium, I'm sure we'll be like speaking into the air and causing all sorts of cool UI elements to happen. But like, I don't know if there. Do you guys know if there's any plans to integrate voice commands into the engine anytime soon?
I do not know.
All right, so that's a 0 for 3. So sorry, we can't answer that because we don't know.
No, Greg says, it's not that I don't love you. I just don't love you like that.
Oh.
Not adoption. I love you.
There was totally a question.
On what?
Let me see. So there were a lot asking about HTML5. So let's make sure that we follow up with the engine guys and get them.
Yeah, there have been lots of improvements.
Lots of improvements?
Coming in 4.1, it should be next week.
Okay.
And next week.
So improvements coming in 4.1 and coming soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we're just the Fortnite guys. We don't know all of the engine greatness.
So,
Like we would get an email
which has
going
been
like,
demonstrated by this particular live stream.
yeah, like we're definitely like we're super. I mean, we're super cool and know everything, right, guys?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah,
Am I right?
totally.
Yeah,
They're never
everything.
going to invite us back.
Yeah, that's fine.
What are you talking
One
about? They're
and
already
done.
packing our crap in a box back at our desks.
Come back.
It's
and, like,
immediately walk to the office, grab your box, escort it out to the parking lot.
they fixed the error in the accounting system.
Hashtag epic.
Hashtag winning.
Okay, we got any other questions on here, guys?
We are running out of time.
no
3
worries.
minutes left.
Please
Please
talk
talk
about
about
plugins.
Well, I plug in my computer. Does that count?
No.
No? Is that not the plugins we're talking
What
about?
specifically do you want to know about plugins?
Yeah, what about the plugins?
That's Unity asking. They're looking for our secrets.
And I've seen
No plugins?
There's no
Anybody
answer.
can run with some GitHubs out there. People can go.
Yeah.
Right.
run plugins. There's
Oh, yeah, that's the
nothing
thing, like-
stopping people. Go ahead, talk about that.
Yep.
like as far as like GitHub, I mean, you can make your own plugins. We're already seeing that content. We're already evaluating people's stuff. I know Laurent's already looking at stuff that people are sending in as far as plugins go. So if you're talking about making your own, hey, if you are a programmer and you've got a nifty idea, jump on in there. I mean, $19 a month gets you access to the source code, and you get to have not some of the fun, all of the fun.
Oh,
So,
okay, I see. They want to know if we are going to package things like the subs and stuff into our official releases.
TBD.
TBD.
Right now, go ahead and get it.
Okay.
You know, the plugins are coming on at rapid pace.
Okay.
TBD. Is that Turner Bachman?
so-
No, that's something else.
A specific question. Will all faces be punchable in 4.1? I can confirm all faces will be punchable because that is a thing. So it is
there
correct.
You go.
I saw an animation question go by about like how many animation blueprints we use. Real fast. Like if you want to talk about that.
It's kind of tricky because you have your character blueprint, and then like our main player has his own like animation blueprint, which like drives like locomotion and all of that fun stuff. I won't get into too much detail. I want to find out how much I can show, and I would actually really like to do a tutorial or video on just kind of showing under the hood one of our like main player or maybe even our enemy blueprints. Can't make a commitment. It's got to be like I got to get right off on it. But if we can, it would be phenomenal to show you guys what exactly you can do.
Yep. Oh, actually, and there was a question way earlier that I saw go by like 3 times, and I totally forgot to address too. Like there was a lot of questions like how the Fortnite team interacts with like the engine team and how that development goes back.
Oh
and
yeah,
forth
yeah,
in
yeah.
the
That was a
front.
good one.
Yeah. So like. We're in a separate branch in our Perforce depot, but we do not have like a whole custom version of the engine. Like we have our game code that we write, but if we need something that's at engine level, we either write it ourselves and then integrate it back to the engine, and then it's available for everyone, or we go beg the engine team nicely and see if they have time to help us out with things. So like a good example is because Fortnite is pretty large, and we needed network updates to be slightly optimized, and so like that was a request we put in, and networking has been better. We've gotten minor new networking features put in, like a way to if you're a programmer, a fast way to replicate T arrays, all that kind of stuff. I think we've done a lot of the requesting for the RPG framework stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like we've kind of pushed to like getting the CSV importing stuff ready to roll and asking for that kind of stuff all the time. So it's really like kind of a huge collaborative process here. We don't have like our own little goodie bag over in the corner that has like all of our hidden stuff. If there's stuff we make for the engine, we dump it in there and then you guys can use it too.
I think we have time for one more question from Kane, who should definitely apply. Any of you guys want to take a swing at this one?
Can you have separate animation trees dynamically swap in and out on characters during runtime to conserve CPU blending burden? I don't know. That's a good question. You know what? We'll get back to you on that one. Because
sounds like a Laurent question.
That is a Laurent
question.
Laurent's?
Just Kane, you can email me that question, and I'll make sure that Laurent looks at it for you.
Oh wait, do you know Kane?
I do.
Okay. Wow, it's good to have an N.
Yeah. Wait, what is this?
Yeah.
Whatevs.
Yeah, whatevs. Well, I mean, I'm trying to convert him to be a user.
Whatevs.
Hashtag use our product. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
We're out of time now.
Are we?
Unless I mean, well, it's theoretically. Are we not out of time?
Or
You can take one more.
All right, we have one more question.
Last one, make it good.
Yeah, this better be an amazing question.
Okay, come on, mad rush for the last really good question. Thanks doesn't count.
yeah, thanks
That's not
isn't a question.
Yeah, that is not a question.
I don't
That's
see a question mark.
statement.
Yeah, an exclamation.
Come on. Oh, that doesn't count.
I have no what.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either.
I think that was Greek.
No.
No, we're not going to talk about.
Yeah.
No comment.
That's a personnel question I shouldn't answer.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave McDowell is on Fortnite.
Yes.
Shouldn't, but did.
Well, I mean, you prompted me.
All right, there. I mean, the biggest advantage to UE4 over UE3 for Fortnite, absolutely, I think, for our perspective, has to have been the blueprints, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
100%. Blueprints and CSVs. I mean, like, once you've gone to a place where you can edit data in aggregate instead of in individual instances of data, you'll be addicted very quickly.
Oh, somebody just asked real quick on how much animation does Fortnite have compared to other games that I've worked on. I worked on a small multiplayer called Team Fortress 2 and did all kinds of crazy stuff on that. And we're going to have even a more robust, substantial, extensive library of animation than that did. And it's all hand-keyed. Woot!
Look at this.
yeah. I don't know where that.
Epic developer / fiction. What's going on here?
Whoa!
Yeah. Whoa.
Come on.
That's where 50 Shades of Grey came from. I'm just saying.
not
Anything
sign
else?
up for
Oh, so some things to remember. If you are a game dev and you're looking for a cool, awesome, fantastic place to work, please, what's our official website for careers?
Games.com/careers.
epicgames.com/careers, right?
Yep.
Don't forget to sign up for the alpha. It's all kinds of cool. What's our website for the alpha?
Fortnite.com/alpha.
See?
I
There
don't
we go.
Maybe.
Yeah,
That might be
I
it.
don't
We'll try it.
understand.
See if it works. If you
Go to
Google it-
Fortnite.com.
Go to Fortnite.com and you're going to get it. Anything else?
So you should also follow these guys on Twitter. Their Twitter handles should be theoretically underneath them. As aforementioned, I am lame and don't have a Twitter, but if you would like to follow me on Twitter and not get any updates, you can follow me on my newly created Twitter account, which is follow the number 4, no update. And if you follow me, I promise to deliver no updates.
And
so there you go.
I am at Russell Annam. That's it.
Yeah, hopefully your guys' Twitters are like magically on the screen right there.
No, I don't
No,
think
no,
they
they're
are.
not.
No.
No.
Well, they took them off?
They're magically in the forms, though.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're magically delicious. Hey,
Hey, they know the
you guys
website.
are awesome. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Already a more efficient developer than Cameron.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
That
that's setting
takes
the
a
bar
lot.
low.
Come on.
That's setting the bar really low.
Yeah.
Woot, woot.
No, this is not the Oprah Winfrey show. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You get an alpha. You get an alpha. You get an alpha. Woo.
That's going to be a gift.
There we go.
I have become a GIF.
I saw a question going by asking if Dana could throw Sharpies at us. So I don't know how. I guess the dad jokes are not doing it.
Wait, which one's no Twitter found?
Probably.
Oh, Billy's
Me.
got a stalker. Oh.
No, I have a Twitter. It's confirmed. You're my follower.
Oh, crap.
I did.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Really,
that's-
seriously.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
My heart.
Cameron-
Smack the
where's my chart?
microphone.
Cameron has 2 whole followers, actually.
Yeah, I do.
I'm one of them.
Yeah, I got some, and one of my other friends.
What?
Actually, I could have even more now. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't
It could
know.
have swollen to like 4.
What
followers.
controller do you play Fortnite with?
The keyboard.
It's called mouse and keyboard.
Mouse and keyboard.
And I rock the hell out of that, Just saying. Okay, what else?
Hashtag KBM.
What? Alpha Fortnite gives a 404 error.
Wait,
Where, did somebody falsely leave?
what?
There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you
Just
plan
remember
on goofing
all of-
off more before leaving us?
All of our.
I don't think we
our,
could goof
yeah.
off anymore. And thanks
Yeah.
for that kind of passive-aggressive way of making me feel bad about myself.
Since you're mic'd up, that we're going to do our regular streams every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
Every Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 Pacific. These, probably with people way smarter and way more
cooler,
entertaining than us.
better looking.
Wait, oh, that's easy, dude. You set that bar so low.
Yeah.
Like for
Well, the
like,
goal is
the gene
this is
pool.
going to keep going until 3 people have beards. And we were really close this time.
I'm sorry, I
but
shaved
Billy
all day.
didn't perform. It was really unfortunate.
No. Just because I use a mouse and keyboard doesn't mean that's the only way to do things. That's my preference.
Yeah.
I'm old school.
Yeah.
So.
WASD, all up ins.
Okay.
That's how it is.
right.
There we go.
You basically now have
Tweets.
a legion of people waiting for dad jokes all the time.
Yeah,
on
you
your
gotta
Twitter.
like.
I'm one of them.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. You and I communicate quite a
Yeah.
bit over with the hashtags and the stuff.
Hashtag dad
Okay.
jokes.
Yeah.
So, okay, guys. Thank you all so much. These are absolutely amazing to do. We have a ton of fun, if you can't tell. We love sharing this stuff. You shut your mouth, Billy Bramer.
Sorry, Dad.
Cameron, I will take all your nice things away.
No.
We have a blast doing this. We love sharing all of the cool stuff that we do with you guys because every time we do, you guys make more cool stuff for us to appreciate. And I don't think you all realize just how awesome that is for us as part of this job. We're very fortunate. We know it. So every Thursday, jump on in, follow us on the Twitters, and yeah, cool.
Bye, guys.
Done.
Thanks for being awesome.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Peace out, yo.